Hey there, welcome into our South Carolina UConn women's basketball preview special. He's Noah Chast. I am Chaz Frazier.
And guys, we are just less than 24 hours away from a top 7 clash between the Gamecocks and the Huskies.
Oh yeah, you're gonna love it. For the next hour and a half, we set the stage. We've got exclusive interviews, one-on-one interviews those are, with senior guard Bree Hall. How about head coach Don Staley? It's all coming your way shortly. All right, South Carolina and UConn are primed for their 14th all-time meeting.
And over the years, the Gamecocks and Huskies, they've given us some great games, some instant classics, regular season, and of course, postseason. Here's Don Staley and Gino Auriemma on the installment of this South Carolina and UConn rivalry, if you can call it that.
I think it's great for our game, and I think it speaks to where we are in our game, where it seems like if you're watching a game, every other commercial is, us and UConn. And when you are able to put, it costs money to actually put those promotions on television, and they wouldn't do it if they didn't get a return on their investment. And I do think you get a return on your investment when you play games like this in the middle of February, where I think they're going to reveal the top 16 seeds. All of that surrounding our game is a build-up towards, the biggest and the best part of our season, which is the NCAA tournament.
You play these games for a reason, right? You play them because they're high-profile games. You're going to get tested when two really high-profile teams get a chance to compete against each other. Does that make it a rivalry? I guess. I don't think if South Carolina beats us, they're going to get T-shirts with the score printed on it. I think they have bigger fish to fry than beating UConn.
Oh, I love Gino's his energy and his spirit. They do have bigger fish to fry, both teams do, with the number 4 Gamecocks and number 7 Huskies. They tip off this game tomorrow on Sunday, 1 p.m. over at Colonial Life Arena.
All right, here's a look at the history of the series. Goes back to December 17th of 2007, before Don Staley was even the head coach. The Huskies beat the Gamecocks by 58 points. Months later, they had to call in the big dog. Don Staley, she was hired, and boy, have things changed. UConn leads the all-time series 9-5, but South Carolina has dominated as of late, winners of 5 of their last 6, including defeating the Huskies in the 2022 National Championship. So
that one may be the sweetest of them all, but they've really turned around since Dawn has got here. Now on Sunday, the floor at CLA will be filled, of course, with McDonald's All-Americans all over the place, and the sideline with Hall of Fame coaches. South Carolina welcomes Paige Beckers, the potential and probable number 1 overall pick in this summer's WNBA draft. We've heard from the coaches and how they view this rivalry. Here's how excited on both sides of the rivalry the players are for Sunday's battle.
It's great. This is like a moment I've always dreamed of since I was young. Just playing against another great team, another great coaching staff, another great coach. So it's just a great thing to experience.
Carolina's a great team, a great program, very well coached. Have a lot of respect for them, for Don and the players. And it's always a great matchup when we play them. Like I said, a very great team. And they're very disciplined. They have a way of playing that they're very well coached, and they stick to it.
I've been in college for 5 years, so I've had a couple key matchups, but I'm really excited. I'm really excited for our young ones. They haven't really experienced it just yet, but it's just a fun opportunity. Not a lot of people have the opportunity to go against top 10 teams, and we're just really excited to get it going Sunday with College Game Day as well. So I just know that we're prepared and ready to go.
Pow, 5-year player. She's like, been here, done that. But hey, it still is a very big game, Chaz.
Oh, yeah, big-time game. So, of course, ESPN, it's sending its A game. They're going to feature the matchup on College Game Day. Get ready for a 2-hour, half-hour show that begins at 11 a.m. And then that's going to be right here on ABC Columbia, so you can catch that. And then the game right after. The doors, they're going to open pretty early tomorrow morning. So fans, the lines are usually wrapped around CLA, so so many fans are going to be clamoring to get inside those doors over at the CLA for the top 7 matchup between South Carolina and UConn.
To ABC Columbia, you're watching our South Carolina UConn preview special. I am getting excited for this one, Chaz, and we've mentioned it a couple times now. The Huskies, they dominated this series early. Dawn Staley came, they changed things around. Gamecocks have now won 5 of their last 6. Well, if you're a senior on this team, you've seen a lot of winning in this series, like senior guard Bree Hall. She's been here for 4 of those 5 wins. Chaz, she knows when these games, when these two teams meet with McDonald's All-Americans all over the court, it's all about being precise, executing your game plan, because in these games, every single mistake could cost you the game.
I love the competition. I love the hype around it. That's another thing. And I love just the atmosphere that it brings. The CLA is going to be rocking when they come.
South Carolina versus UConn. What's the first memory or moment that pops up in your head?
Ooh, the first memory that pops up in my head is when we won against them in the national championship. That was a super exciting moment. I couldn't believe it, and I was just happy for our team.
So what's the atmosphere like in these games, both when you're home and then when you're at their place?
Oh, it's crazy. Both fan bases are insane. They both go hard for their players and their team, so it's a very fun environment. When Ashland blocked KK Arnold during the UConn game last year, that was the loudest I probably ever heard of CLA. It was incredible. Like, I just couldn't believe how loud it could get in there, and something I'll probably never forget.
Now you're a member, the seatbelt gang on this team. You're always defending the toughest and most, offensive players on the other team. I'm assuming you have some role with Paige Beckers this weekend. What's the challenges that comes into guarding a player like her?
She's a tough player. She has a lot in her bag, and she has a lot of different moves, and she's so poised. And I think trying to go into the game, trying to know what her next move is going to be is probably not going to be the best thing for me. I think I'm just going to have to read and read the offense of what the team is trying to do for her and how they're going to set her up to produce. But I think if we come out there and do exactly that seatbelt gang, I think it'll be great for us.
There's a lot of emphasis and excitement for this. How do you guys keep yourself poised and just play like any other game?
I mean, keeping the main thing, college game day coming is always great. It's going to be a really exciting atmosphere, but, focus on what we're supposed to do for that game, and executing is probably just the most important thing for us.
Maybe you face this team again down the line in the bracket, who knows, but this could be the last UConn South Carolina game of your career. I mean, is there emotions you have going into that, and how do you keep those sort of, in the right spot?
I don't know if I've thought about it like that. I try not to think about it like that, or anything of knowing that I'm going to be leaving the school, because it's just sad. But I just kind of just take it one game at a time and just worry about that game. I don't know if it's really a statement. I think it's 2 really good teams, and I think it'll be a test for where we are in the season.
So appreciative of Bree taking the time out of her busy student-athlete schedule to talk with us, and she's got the tough assignment on Sunday with Paige Beckers, but she's...
All right, Noah, it's the game that college women's basketball fans always circle on the calendar. I mean, it doesn't get much better than 2 future Hall of Fame coaches and their gold standard programs going head-to-head. I took a trip down memory lane with head coach Dawn Staley, an exclusive one-on-one interview about the must-see matchup throughout the years. Take a look.
When you hear UConn, South Carolina now, it is the quintessential of women's basketball. We've created a rivalry.
South Carolina, before you're here, beaten by 58 points. They gave you a call, you came over. I know some of those games are kind of scheduled out for years to come, but why was it important to continue the series?
I wanted to continue to measure ourselves. Where are we? They are the top. They are, the traditionally rich. They are the standard. And when you are a not so smart coach, right? You want to continue getting your head beat in. But at some point I knew that the more you play them, the more you get comfortable, and you're not playing basically the establishment. You just get to playing a game, wherever it is. Your first time you go up there, you see all those banners. You've already lost. When you play a team that you don't gain anything from, whether you win, and you can lose everything if you lose to them. We were that type of team for Tennessee when I was at Temple, and then we were that kind of team for UConn when I got here at South Carolina. Now it's bloomed into something really great.
I believe it took 8 tries before you guys took 8 tries before you finally got Gino. What do you remember about that first win? Take me back and through that.
We had a squad, and we were like You know, we had a top 10. Like, we could play 10. Our depth was great. Our starters were great. We had a great mix of senior leadership and Ty Harris and Kiki Herbert-Harrigan. And then we had the freshies. Aaliyah especially probably wanted that game more than anything because the recruiting process and her being from the Boston area and not going there. So I know there was a little angst from her. And then we wanted to just back her up to reassure her she made the right decision. And I think that opened the floodgates for us to just kind of shake off those demons of losing to them time and time again. And it was electric. Like, it set the tone for the rest of the rivals. No matter how many wins they had against our no losses, that set the tone for the rest of the rivalry.
How has this series sharpened you as a coach? You're going against Gino, going to be a Hall of Fame coach, or obviously you're going to be a Hall of Fame coach as well. How has it sharpened you as a coach?
The reason why I took the job here at South Carolina is because I wanted to sharpen myself as a coach. Just coaching against Gino, where I think he's he's savant-like when it comes to this game. He really understands it. He really, figures out who is the weak point.
You guys have won 5 out of 6 in the series, including that national championship. It was their first ever loss in a national championship game. How do you sustain the success in this series?
Our current teams have been great. Our current teams have been very talented and together and playing as one. And that's what you need to be, a team and a program and a franchise and the standard like a UConn.